Hello, beautiful people, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about my health journey, and there's really no other way to describe it but as a journey. And it's been, it was, for a while it was a difficult one, and I'm glad I went through the things that I went through, because I wouldn't be here with you, I wouldn't be doing the work that I'm doing, I wouldn't have this holistic approach to my executive coaching, to the work that I do with startups, to all of the stuff that I do, right? I would still be as close-minded as I was before. And it was really through being forced through health difficulties that I had to expand my horizons. And I had to learn how to take full ownership over my health and my healing, and knowing, just really taking responsibility of how I engaged with myself, with my food, with my environment, to create an environment for healthy, thriving living. So I am so excited to share more about my journey, and my only reason for doing this video is that if you have had a similar journey, if you feel like you might be like, I don't even know what to try anymore. I've been there, and I am not a doctor, and nor do I, pretend to be at all. I have the deepest respect for doctors, and I know that my journey took me on all of these different, through these different experiences, and research and knowledge and discovery. And if my journey can help ease any of your pain, your concern, if I can help at all, that's why I'm creating this video. So follow me to the other side. Hello, beautiful being. Thank you for being here. My name is Luz Gonzalez, and I am your peak performance, purpose, and leadership coach. I work with you for you to find your purpose, for you to realize your full potential, and for you to raise the bar in your life so you live your best life. I'm a coach. When people talk about like a life coach, I'm not a life coach. I don't like saying that I'm a life coach, because I'm really not. The term that I've used is a peak performance, right? But that seems a little like, it's like, well, what does that mean? And so what it really means, I'm hardcore, and I'm like, get shit done, and let's be strategic, and let's do the research, and let's have the data and the evidence and the science. And I am also holistic, and we're here to talk about my health journey. And the only reason that I am this more holistic coach in terms of the corporate clients that I work with, and these ambitious professionals that I work with, and many of them have also been in similar situations where they had to expand their horizons. It's not that they wanted to, they were kind of forced to, and that leads us here, where our approach isn't just your basic Western approach, but it's really one that's based on science, data, Eastern traditions, and the best from, the Western world. And I had to arrive at this place because of the struggles that I had in my health. And that's what this video is about. So let's see, I'm doing great now. Part of the reason that I wanted to do this video, I had to go through the suffering and the pain and the struggle and the anxiety and all of that stuff. But now I've gotten myself to a place where I took ownership of the responsibility for my health and my well-being and my thriving in my body. And that meant I went through all these things, and I learned so much. I went through so many things that I am now at a place where I know how to heal myself. And I know for some people you're gonna be like, oh, you heal yourself. And I really truly mean that. There's going to a hospital or a doctor to have, you know, something removed or, you know, like having stitches done. That's vital and critical. I am so grateful to doctors who have been just vital in, you know, like in my parents' lives, in, you know, people that I love in my own life. And I believe that when we approach our health and when we are not in health, it really, the concept that we need to be bringing to this world is the concept of healing. And it is my heartfelt desire for more Western doctors to embrace the concept of healing versus just addressing symptoms, right? It breaks my heart when I see people that I love and care about address the symptom, but not take the time to understand the underlying causes that led to that environment to be created where such a symptom could arise. And that's really how I believe that we should be looking at dis-ease, right? Dis-ease is the, like, your body not being in balance, not being in the way that it needs to be. And that was the case for my body for years. So for about 12 years, a long time, I kept going to doctors and telling them something's wrong, right? Like when I was in law school, so for all these like 10 years, 12, 15, I don't know, like for the last 3 years, I dedicated myself to learning about everything in this space so I could be an advocate and a partner for myself. And before that, I don't know, I guess that was about 10 plus years. I wasn't. I had given my responsibility to somebody else. I had given my responsibility in terms of my health to a health professional. And it's okay to partner with a health professional, but it is my view that it's our responsibility to really be in ownership and in responsibility for the balance or disbalance of our health, and for who we partner with and how we are advocates for ourselves. And so for about 10 years I would go to doctors and I would say, hey, something's wrong with me. You know, like there would be times where I would wake up at night and my entire left leg was numb, and I would have to, with my heart beating out of my chest, crawl to the kitchen to eat the right thing. I didn't know what the right thing to eat and why it was the right thing, right? I was asking these questions. Well, what am I supposed to eat? What am I not supposed to eat? So that happened multiple times. Or I would wake up and my left leg or left arm would be numb. Once I woke up and I couldn't see out of one eye. Can you imagine, like, waking up and you're blind from one eye and you don't understand what keeps happening to you, and you go to doctors and they say, well, there's nothing we can do about this, you have a food sensitivity. And the anger and the frustration that comes with, wait, what? Your job's supposed to be to help me. Your job's supposed to be to like help this go away. And it wasn't for me until I took responsibility and dove into this world of understanding that there were things that I was doing that were creating a disbalance, that were creating dis-ease within my body, that everything started changing. And so the straw that broke the camel's back was, and I think I've shared this experience before, I was driving from San Francisco, where I was at the 24-hour Starbucks, at which I was, I was there all the time because that's how I did life. I had no sense of balance, no sense of putting on your oxygen mask. I was all about just the work. And being so proud of, like, I got 2 hours of sleep, this last night. And so was one of these days. It's probably like, I don't know, high stress time. But if you're in law school, it's like always high stress time. Anyway, I was coming back from, well, I was at the cafe and I started feeling terrible. I started feeling worse. You know, the symptoms, they would arise. I would start feeling tingling, you know, in my face. You know, sometimes like my face would go like half numb. I would start feeling tingling in my face and my hands. And I was like, oh, gotta go. Like, I just gotta make it across that bridge. So for the people that aren't from the Bay Area, Berkeley and San Francisco are separated by this bridge. And so I was like, oh, I've gotta go, you know, this is, and I was eating the things and drinking the things that I thought would make me feel better. Nothing was working, and I just thought, oh, this isn't good. And so I was driving over, and, you know, so like my ankle started going numb, and I was like, what? Like, that's never happened. That's weird. Just my ankle, my left ankle. And I got off, I pulled over and I got out of the car and I shook it off, and I was just started to get really worried. And I said, like, I just have to get across that bridge. And so I got back in the car and, you know, drove, and I was on the bridge. So I was on the bridge. My entire left leg started going numb. My entire left arm started going numb. My hands felt like I was losing control from them. And in panic, I called my friend and I said, hey, stay on the phone with me, right? Like, there's nowhere to pull over on that bridge. And my heart's beating out of my chest, and I'm thinking, if there's an accident, like, this could be it. And it had to come to that, like, dire situation. Thankfully, I'm here. I made it to the halfway point between Berkeley and San Francisco. There's Treasure Island. And I pulled over and I called my friends and I said, I can't drive, like, I need you guys to pick me up and take me to the hospital. Something's wrong. I thought, like, I'm having a stroke, I'm having a heart attack, something's happening. And thought, like, but I'm so healthy, I'm so young, how could that be? And they took me to the hospital, and in the hospital they did all the studies, tests, all the stuff. And they said, you know, like, my heartbeat was a little bit, you know, off, but, you know, for the most part it was fine. And they said, you had an anxiety attack. And I was like, no. Luis Gonzalez does not have anxiety attacks. That's not for me, that's for, like, other people. You don't understand. I just about had a stroke. And whatever that was, I still don't know what that was. All I know is that was my wake-up call. And that was the, hey dummy, you've got to get a hold of your health, and you've got to get a hold of your stress, and you've got to take responsibility over your own vitality and the way that you are engaging with your body and the stuff that you are allowing in your body, on your body. Otherwise, this is like, you made it past that bridge. Like, this could have been so much worse. And I am so glad that it wasn't worse. And that was a turning point. That's been a turning point in my life. And I think it sucks that so often, or at least sometimes, we have to have it get to that point, right? For us to learn the lesson. But I knew that for me, I was gonna listen, and I was gonna learn the lesson, and I was gonna learn it well. And that I never again wanted to be in a situation where I was not only putting myself in danger, but the lives of other people in danger, really. And that's where, I mean, everything started changing. That's why I'm a holistic coach, because of the health journey that I was on. And at that point, I said, okay, things have to change. I immediately that week started learning all about positive psychology, the effects of stress on your body, genomics, epigenetics. That's how I got super interested in, like, that field of study. I started learning about the brain. I started learning about the biome, like the microbiome, and how all of these things connect. Started really like learning about the gut and how, and leaky gut syndrome and like gluten and blah blah, all these things. And here we are 3 years later, I think, after that incident. And I am so grateful that I went through that, because it was the wake-up call. And I look forward to not having another wake-up call like that. And since that, I've continued to have struggles where, sometimes I'll feel palpitations, or you guys may have noticed in this video and other videos, I have a sty/chalazion thing. But now I feel in control. I know that I have in my body created an environment that allowed for disease to be possible. So I heard this from someone, and I just thought it was so powerful, and it really made me rethink my body, right? Like, our bodies are these ecosystems. It's never just about the cut, or it's never just, well, the cut's different. It's never just about the sty. It's never just about the pimple or the symptom, the rash. It's the environment that allowed that to exist and to keep growing, or to continue to be there. And so this person talked about New York, and this is in the earlier, 1920s or whatever. And there was some sort of, like, workers said there was a protest, and they were no longer, the people who were picking up garbage were no longer going to pick up garbage. And so all of a sudden, you had like just piles and piles of garbage that were on the streets. And then all of a sudden, you started having a problem with rats. And so what is the problem here? Was it the rats that are the problem? Yeah, they're super inconvenient. But often the rat is actually a wake-up call. It's a, hey, you've created such a dirty environment that allowed for rats to thrive here, right? And that, I believe, is absolutely applicable to our bodies. And so with this chalazion, I was like, oh, something's off, right? Something is not in balance. My stress is probably high, which it has been. Probably not sleeping very much. No, I've been overworking. I haven't been eating well. It's the holidays. So I wasn't in the past eating. I was like eating all the tamales and the sopes and the things. So all of these things, it's like, am I drinking enough water? Am I exercising? We had just had the smoke here, and like, I am extra sensitive to contamination. And so it was the smoke and the not eating as well as I should be eating. Eating things that I committed to not eating, such as lactose and, like excessive sugar and, like just things like crap food that I should not be putting into my temple. And I do invite you to call your body your temple, because when you see it in that way, then I think sometimes we disassociate ourselves from our body. But when I call it my temple, it makes me understand that it's my responsibility to take care of this beautiful thing. It's my job. It's my job to keep it clean, so no rats will be infesting my temple. It's my job to keep it looking good and healthy and thriving. And there are fundamental building blocks that I have learned that lead towards thriving health. And and that's why I'm a holistic coach. Like, I bring in health into the work that I do with my clients, because I know that you can't be as effective of a CEO, of a manager, of like whatever work you're doing, building your business, small business owner, if you're not taking care of yourself. And I've been there, people. Like, I've made all the mistakes, but I've also learned the lesson. I didn't let the mistake repeat again and again and again to a place where it caused too much pain. I was like, all right, I got it, all right, I'm gonna learn the lesson and really try to learn it well. So what's happened since then? What have I done and where am I? I've never felt as healthy and, you know, like I'm like at this weight that I've never been at before. I work out, I have a little tracker on the wall. This year was my year for vitality. I got really serious about my health and ownership of my healing, my own inner healing. And so I haven't missed a workout, you know, in like, I don't know, like 6 months or something. When we had the smoke, I missed a couple, but like feeling really proud of just like how I'm showing up for my temple. And you need to make a decision there, right? And so what are some of the building blocks that I have implemented in my own life and continue to implement? Great. So let's talk about the big picture items. Number one, your food. I can talk about this for hours. The number one thing that I just think it breaks my heart to see people eating unhealthy food, because I know what that's doing to the entire system. Again, it's never just the sty, it's never just the infection, it's never just the flu, it's the environment, it's the whole thing that came together to make you getting sick possible. I also want to say something. I'm not saying you should not work with doctors. You absolutely, we are all partners in our health. What I am saying is that we, each of us, need to take absolute responsibility and agency for our health or our disease. And that means learning. That means finding the right, you know, healthcare provider, finding the right partner that's gonna help you, opening up your mind to new ways of reaching health in your body. And so again, back to the core foundations of what I've learned from my lesson. Number one is food. My rule is if it can sit on a shelf and not rot, if it can sit on a shelf for 2 weeks and it doesn't rot, it doesn't go on my body. It doesn't go in my body, it doesn't go on my body. There's lotions. I will talk about stuff we put on our bodies as well, because that's actually really critical, and most of us just don't even think about these things. Like, I wasn't thinking about these things. But the number one thing is food. I listened to this in one of the books that, you know, like all the books that I listen, and this was this fascinating data point. It was talking about how when you smell the smell of a rose, that actually has an electric charge. And so just by engaging just with this scent, that charges so not only are we physical bodies, not only are we also connected with, you know, the microbiome and like the bacterial community, which is not a bad thing, it's a good thing. We've said like the bacteria are the devil. No, they're not. Actually, you need a healthy balance of bacteria, and only a healthy ecosystem can lead to that. And there's things that you can do to lead to this healthy balance of the bacteria in your body. It's not like, so the other people who've gone the other way of no bacteria on me ever, then people get sick, right? It's all about balance. So back to the rose. So we are not only the microbiome and the physical body, we are also electrical bodies. We cannot deny this. Again, when you start diving into the main components that make up who we are, like as physical beings, we have, you know, there's the electrical charge, there's the like electromagnetic, you know, aspect of things. And so just by smelling a rose, some of that, you know, like electrical charge, it impacts your electrical body. And so back to food, when you engage with a food that is dead, that's not giving you like a food that is alive. And by alive, I mean vegetables, fruits, things that come from nature. That not only has an effect in terms of like you know, you help making your teeth healthier because like of the crunch and like you know, your body. There's even an electrical effect, an electrical influence to your system. And this is how we need to be thinking about health. There's, you know, the electrical, there's the microbiome, there's the brain, there's the heart, there's like all of these pieces. And for us to think that when a symptom arises, it's disconnected from the entire environment, from the entire system, that makes no sense. And so I urge you, I absolutely urge you to take control of your food. How do I eat? How do I eat? So I eat greens every single day. If there's, you know, like when times have been tough, there were like the only things that I bought were like, I never miss my salad. And by salad, I make a salad that's about this big. So when I go home with my family, I'm always the one that brings salad because like I always eat my salad. And I'm always like, you guys know I'm eating this entire thing by myself, right? Like this is what I eat a day. So if you also want salad, just let me know so I can make some more. So a salad, every single day I have salad. Again, this goes back to the like, just there's so many properties. There's like the chemical properties, there's the like electrical properties, there's like, we need to be engaging with live foods. We are live beings and we are meant to engage and to eat live foods. And that's what we should be eating. The majority, like 90% of what you're eating on a daily basis should be live foods. Let's see, you want to eat seasonally, and locally. And you want to eat cleanly, which means, yes, you can be eating a lot of veggies and a lot of fruit, and there's a difference. You don't want to overdo it on the fruit because fruit is very heavy with sugar. And so you want to be careful when you're eating like the fruit, but you know, between a candy cane or between like a Snickers or some sort of candy and a fruit, go with the fruit, eat the fruit. You know, have healthy alternatives in your house. And that's the other thing that I do. I don't keep things in my house that would allow me to give in to, you know, like wanting to eat badly when either I'm feeling stressed or I'm hungry or whatever it is. You know, there have been times where I'm just like, God damn, I just want to eat something terrible, but I can't because everything's closed and the only stuff that I have here is healthy. So I have to settle for just eating, what are they called? I know the name in Spanish, camote. A sweet potato, right? Like, I'm just like, well, sweet potato it is. Or like, I guess I'm just gonna eat a banana. So, you know, make your environment, that includes your home, an environment that will allow you to thrive. And so eat your greens, eat your veggies. You want to eat locally. That is because that affects, again, it interacts with your microbiome, it interacts with all the things, so you want to eat locally. Also, the food is, your veggies, your fruits, they have most of their properties, you know, right when they're picked, and so the longer the time, the more of the properties that they lose. And so to the extent that you can eat locally, it just retains more of that good stuff. And then I said also cleanly and seasonally. So seasonally means you want to be eating all kinds of different colors, and you want to eat what is in season for your area at that time. And you also, there's tests that you guys can take where you can actually study your microbiome, and you can have a better understanding of the things that you are sensitive to and not sensitive to, and this could connect to, you know, just like your genetics and your family background. And so you've got to play around with it, and that's the thing, like that's what it means to take ownership. You're gonna try some things, and so for me, I've made calls of I know I'm not supposed to be drinking milk or eating lactose products. I have said no to soy. I have said no to gluten. There's been so many studies on gluten and the effect that it has on your brain, the decimation that it causes in your digestive system. It has been connected to leaky gut syndrome, and then there's, none of these things are conclusive, and in this world you can have people who are and this is why you've got to be responsible for your health. You're gonna have experts, and I've read all the research. There are experts who are like, yes, eat meat, and there are experts who are like, no, meat is the devil. And you've got to come to your own conclusions. And I'm sharing my conclusions based on years of being in pain and suffering, but also researching and finding things that work for me. Now, the things that work for me, there might be some foundational things that work for you, and there's still going to be diversity. We are diverse in our backgrounds, and so there's going to be things that work for me that won't necessarily work for your body for different reasons, whether it be because of where you live or because of your genetic background. And so you want to eat multiple colors, so you want to, not just like eat the same, like just spinach all the time. What I love about living in Berkeley, and I hope it's true in Austin, when I move, is here when I go to visit my parents, I'm just like, the only thing they have at the store is just spinach. Here I have frisee lettuce, I have spring mix, I have these beautiful purples and these beautiful like dark green leafy things, and it just like, I can really alter what I put in my salad on a day-to-day basis, and that's wonderful. So seasonally, locally, cleanly. So you want to be eating cleanly. What that means is, especially by cleanly, it means organic, basically. You want to be eating food that's coming from Mother Earth that has not been genetically processed, and you want to be eating food that doesn't have all of these terrible chemicals. These chemicals have been connected to diseases, they've been connected to just like, you just don't want to take a chance, so you want to eat as cleanly as possible. I encourage you, if you can, maybe get your kids, your family together, your neighborhood, grow your own garden where you can grow your own food. We don't all have time for that. Or maybe you have a neighborhood garden where you can pay to be part of a co-op. I know that here in Berkeley, they have these neighborhood co-ops, and you're eating the food that you're growing as a neighborhood. And I just think that's genius and beautiful and sustainable and great. And it's not just great for the environment, but it's also great for our bodies. So cleanly, locally sourced, and seasonal, and varied. So you want to be bringing in all of these different fruits and veggies and leafy foods that you're bringing into your body. They're all contributing different chemicals that are engaging with your body and giving your body just the founding blocks that it needs to be thriving. So food is huge. What are processed foods? Processed foods are any food that basically started in nature, but it went through a process, and so now it looks like a donut. Now it looks like it. So a processed food is anything that you can't find it on a tree or on a bush. It's gone through it's been worked in some way to a place where it just, like, what are examples? So like cornflakes, cereal, anything that sits in a box, and like these Fruit Loops, like all of these things are processed foods, and they're not live foods. They are just not going to be helping you set a foundation for you to be thriving. Now, am I saying you can never eat cheesecake in your life ever again? No, we're talking about balance. There's this concept of zig and sag. You mostly zig in your health, which means you're mostly, 90% of the food that you're eating are these healthy foods that are coming from Mother Nature. Maybe 95% of the time. And then 5%, yes, have that glass of wine. And that comes from nature, right? That's wine, that's like grapes, just kidding. But yes, like have your cheesecake, have your, your processed food, but just know that you're going to have to, that's going to cause a disbalance in your body, and you're going to have to be extra healthy the next, few days to strengthen your body. Okay, so that's food. Water. Most of us are severely dehydrated. This is gonna go for a while. Again, I can talk about this stuff for hours. I've been on this journey for years. I'm gonna try to keep it as short as possible, but I know it's gonna be long. It's just, It's so critical, it's so important. It's part of something that I am so passionate about. It's people learning how to heal themselves, or like how to get themselves so healthy that they don't have to get sick in the first place. And that when you recognize that there's a symptom of disease, you know exactly what to do. So what we do is we eat well. We, just like eat all the greens. I do have to talk about garlic. I am a big fan of garlic. I know that garlic has antibacterial, antiviral, I'm missing one. It has like all of the properties. It's this incredible superfood. I'm such a fan. Whenever I get sick, I'm like, garlic it is. I did grow up in Gilroy, California, the garlic capital of the world. So that might have, but anyway, I'm a big fan of garlic. Whenever people are sick, I'm like, you should have some garlic. Kind of like that Greek wedding movie. It's like Febreze on it. For me, it's garlic. So if you're ever sick, just eat some garlic. I bet you're gonna get better. I swear by this. I never get sick. When I get the flu, I just eat a little bit of garlic. Like, not maybe a little bit, like garlic, and then I'm fine. Okay, so hydration, you wanna be drinking good water. So alkalinity, your body, right? There's like so much science behind this, but we don't have to dive in like super deeply into it. So your body has a chemical balance, so a pH balance. And so you can be acidic or you can be alkaline. Back to the conversation we had about the rats in New York, and it wasn't the rats, it was like there was so much garbage on the streets that created this environment where rats could thrive. Similar with the pH of your body. So we want to have balance. A balanced body is at about 7.6 in pH. Anything below that, I could run and get something, but I think we're good. Actually, I'll be right back. So here I am holding these pH test strips. This is to measure the alkalinity of your body. So we're going to be talking about alkalinity. Alkalinity, you have here, right in the middle, it's going to be a 7.0, and then you have 7.5, 8.0, 8.5, and 9.0, and then you have 6.5, 6.0, 5.5, and 5.0. So to this side of the pH scale, we have an acidic body environment. That means your blood itself has gotten to a pH where it's acidic. An acidic environment is inviting disease. When I get sick, every time I check, so these are basically pee strips. So you can do blood, or you can check your pee, or you can check your saliva, and these are the easiest. So this is just a little strip, and you pee on it, and then you see what color it turns, and that tells you the pH of your body. And there's multiple things that affect the alkalinity of the blood and of your body, including your breathing, including stress levels, including your hydration, and including the food that you're eating. And so when you start getting sick, you can get one of these, and I bet you, like, it might very well that you are acidic. What breaks my heart is that the Western diet here in the United States and most of the Western world is an acidic diet. Now, if you're catching what I'm talking about, this means that we are creating an entire environment, an entire society that is setting people up to make it really easy for you to get sick. And so you don't want to go all the way, again, this is all about balance. You don't want to go all the way to the 9.0, but we do want to be somewhere in the 7.0 to 7.5, maybe even an 8.0 in terms of the alkalinity. So again, when I start feeling sick or off or highly stressed, I check, and the beauty of these foundational tools is now you have tools to get yourself back into balance. So when I see that I'm highly acidic or even mildly acidic, I'm like, whoa, that means I need to do diaphragmatic breathing. That means I need to sleep better. I need to control my stress. I need to eat all the greens. I need to just like make a big old salad, and I need to keep eating greens, because all of these things are gonna get you back into balance. So this is a super helpful tool that I've been using that lets me know where I am in terms of my pH balance, and that lets me know the sort of environment that I'm creating and that I have within my body. whether it's acidic or whether it's alkaline. Okay, so there's food, hydration, healthy fats. So the thing is, and this is why it was so frustrating for me, right? And this is why I'm making this video for you. People would be like, don't eat fats. And then like some people are like, yes, eat fats. I'm on the yes fats train. But of course, I'm going to not say eat all the fats. We're going to have healthy fats. I'm gonna be right back for another product. All right, so healthy fats. So here I'm holding Udo's Oil Blend 3, 6, and 9 omega fats. So these are healthy fats that go straight to helping your brain. Your brain is mostly made of these fats. Your body needs fat to operate, not the unhealthy fats, not like these terrible. And then there's the whole question of like saturated, unsaturated, blah, blah, blah. For me, the answer that I've arrived at is if it comes from nature, I am going to eat it, right? And we also always want to have balance in how we're eating things. It doesn't mean, I'm not saying like eat 1,000 avocados a day. No, that's disbalance. That's going to lead to you not being in balance in your body. So this brings organic flax, sesame, and sunflower seed oils. Okay, so when it comes to healthy oils, I don't have any here. So say like an olive oil, that's gonna be a healthy oil as well. But these super processed, say, you know, like a corn oil or these like, so if we saw the color of this oil, we would see that it's like a darker color. And that's because when oils are processed, they are bleached, they go through all this chemical processing, and they are no longer, they're like just not that good for you. They might taste great, but they're just causing havoc inside of your body. So we want to help our bodies be strong either through, you know, these healthy 3, 6, and 9 omegas, which your brain absolutely needs. You can also get these oils from, say, a fish. Now, so this is salmon oil, and I take this and I supplement some of my salads and soups and such with my Udo's oil. And now a word about seafood. This is the thing, like we've gotten to a place where a lot of our food, even our healthy, natural food, is so contaminated. And so I have to caution you in eating fruits and vegetables and meat. These are all natural foods, and the way that we have contaminated like many of our sources of food is pretty terrible for the planet, but also for ourselves and our health. And so in terms of eating fish, you can take, so this is wild Alaskan salmon oil. I just found this at a Whole Foods. And so I want to make sure that the source of any food or any supplement that I'm eating is a healthy supplement, that it's like, so I wouldn't want farmed, you know, salmon oil, because there's a bunch of chemicals and contamination in these farmed environments for the salmon. And so a lot of our fish, yes, you're gonna get, you know, these fatty acids that are really good for your brain and make your brain happy and make you, you know, control stress better and sleep better and eat better and like just be happier. It all has an effect. You're gonna find that from fish, except so much of our fish is wildly contaminated. So much of our fish is just contaminated with mercury and, you know, like all of these terrible things that we've like just dumped into the ocean. And so we want to be very careful. I also brought out this chlorophyll. And so back to when I'm feeling a little bit off center, when I see that I'm alkaline, I'll have straight up just chlorophyll. And this helps me accelerate my journey into like more an alkaline, a 7.0, 7.0 to, you know, to a 7.5. And so I'll drink water with some chlorophyll, and this is straight good stuff. What else do I have here? Okay, and the next thing, I'm not advocating any of these products. What I am advocating is you doing the research. I'm telling you where the conclusions that I've arrived at in my own life. So before I talk about these supplements, or these kinds of supplements, I want to talk about meat. The other big discussion in the world of eating is a discussion around should you eat meat or should you not eat meat. Where I arrived and I did all kinds of creative research. Like I even studied the dentures of different animals out in the wild because, you know, in the academic circles, there's people who are like, there's PhDs who write books about why you should eat meat, and there's PhDs who write books about why you shouldn't eat meat. And so it can be really hard to know where to land yourself. And I know that I was like, like, yes, milk, no milk, yes, meat, no meat, yes, eggs, no eggs, yes, avocado, no avocado. And it's just, you've got to take agency. So I've taken agency over my own health, and I'm reaching my own conclusions. And so what I'm sharing, again, are my own conclusions and the things that I've learned and the things that help me continue to have my body be this thriving platform for my life. So meat, where I arrived with meat was yes meat. I am on the yes train for meat. I do think, based on, you know, if we look back at our relationship with meat throughout evolution of human history, it wasn't like we were eating a big old steak every night, and that I think is the problem. I think that in the United States we've gone too far in excess, right? Like we eat these milkshakes that are this big, like probably this big, you know, like can't even fit in the camera. We have these like huge portions. So yeah, eat the cheesecake, but don't eat the entire cheesecake. Have a slice of the cheesecake. Oh my gosh, that gets me, oh, sugar. Okay, so meat. I eat meat. I probably eat meat on a daily basis. I eat meat and I eat eggs, but I just don't eat the entire chicken or the entire turkey or the entire like cow. I have a little bit. So you want to have, you know, if this is your plate, actually, I'll be right back. Okay, so you guys can tell that I've really taken some time to study this. But again, I've gotten myself to a place where I feel in control. When I start getting sick, I know exactly what to do. All right, so we're gonna talk about portions here because I was talking about meat and I was talking about how you shouldn't eat the entire cow. So this is how much, this is my hand, this is proteins, this is how much meat you can have on a daily basis. So this is about it. Like, we're not doing a big old thing, this much. And I want to encourage you, again, just like with our veggies and our fruits, I want to encourage you to eat cleanly. I want you to have pasture raised, no antibiotics, no hormones, all of this shit, and there's no other way to put it, all this shit that is pumped into these animals. Where do you think it winds up? It winds up inside of us. That's why we have these humans who have resistance to antibiotics. They have, you know, these hormones in the milk, these hormones in the cheese, in the meat that are affecting us. So yes, I eat meat, but I don't eat dirty meat. I eat clean meat that I have assured is like, again, local and, you know, ethical and, you know, okay. And then you're saying, Luz, that's really nice that, you know, but like that's expensive. There is a price difference, but you know, what I'll say is, again, you're not eating that much meat. You're not going and like having the big old thing. And the question for me is, what's more expensive? Getting sick and living for years in that way and not know, like that's more expensive. Like the health, the more proactive thing to do is, if you're going to decide to eat meat, and again, I decided to eat animal products in terms of meat at least. I don't have milk. I don't eat cheese. Sometimes, yes, I'll have a little bit of cheese, but I know when I'm having it, I'm making a poor decision for my health and for my body. I know I am not supporting my body by making a decision to have that. So this is about how much meat you want to be having. This is, where do we have our healthy fats? This includes, say, an avocado. This is how big my hand is. This is for your healthy fats. And then for your veggies, you want to have multiple of these. You can have 3 to 4 of these on a daily basis. You can even have more. But definitely for your protein, you want to keep it so you have like 1 of these a day. You don't even have to have it every day. You could have it like 3 times a week. Oh, and then this is carbs. Do you guys see how tiny that is? You can have maybe like 2 of these a day. We're not eating like mountains of potato chips, and we're not eating like loads of rice. We're keeping our proportions of carbs low. I know that there's people who will say, again, all of these things, you're gonna have people who say like, we eat all the carbs, and people who say like, eat no carbs. So where I have landed is I do eat carbs, healthy carbs, natural carbs. I don't eat that many. I do eat protein. I find that protein keeps me, animal protein. I eat meat. It allows me to think better. I'm a runner. I'm an athlete. Like, it allows me to just function better in what I do. And then I eat a ton of greens and veggies, and I'll eat maybe like 1 fruit a day. So you want to not eat all the fruit. Sugar. Oh my God, sugar is the devil. So it's been shown in like, there's, studies that have shown that our connection to sugar, the way that our brain responds to sugar is basically the way that an addict responds to cocaine. When you are eating that candy bar, when you're having that ice cream, when you're eating any of those things that have sugar, I have admitted to myself, like, yeah, I have a problem. I am addicted to sugar. And when I have kids, those kids are not going to be exposed to sugar, not for years, because the sugar, it like impacts your gut, it impacts your microbiome, it impacts your brain, it messes up with a bunch of things in your body. We were not meant to eat so much sugar, not in the quantities. Again, it breaks my heart when I see people who are having like this thing even bigger of just soda. It's disgusting. Like I used to be that. Like, the only thing really that I drink, I never go anywhere without my bottle of water. The other thing here about my bottle of water, this is a glass bottle of water. For me, when I drink or when I have plastic containers, all of my containers are glass containers because I can taste the plastic. And again, it impacts me. So I do glass containers. My water is contained in a glass bottle. Love this, super convenient. But anyway, yeah, like you see these people, these kids, these children are eating these like massive, like sugar, like laden things, and it breaks my heart because it's really messing up their body. Like actionable items in terms of sugar. You want to really decrease and be aware of your sugar intake. I love sweets. It is my weakness, right? Like, I have chocolate in the house, and I know that when I start eating it, like, I basically have to finish the whole thing, and so I know myself. So I try to have small, like, bits of sugar and then this is the other thing, like, this is associated with our emotional part of our body. Again, all of these things are connected. We're talking about systems here. So I know for me, when I get stressed, I want to eat sugar. I want to eat something salty. I want to eat like some sort of food so it'll soothe my emotions. Or when I celebrate and I'm like, yes, I won, I got something good. I want to celebrate with something sweet because that's how I celebrated with my family when I was little. And so just being really aware of the ways that you are emotionally engaging with the foods that you're eating is vitally important. And so, I mean, if you can cut out sugar, cut it out. Like, I can't. Like, I like it too much. I'm sure I could. I have chosen not to. It's almost impossible. Not that that's like an excuse, but it's really hard. You see sugar absolutely everywhere. So since I am no gluten, no lactose, no soy, most places that I go to, I just can't eat. So I usually just bring my own food, which is what like when I travel, I bring my veggies with me. I bring my NutriBullet. So we covered a wide range of things when it comes to what I've learned on my journey to being, my #1 advocate when it comes to my health, and to now knowing what to do, right? So I have this chalazion thing, however you say it, and all I know is that it's my body saying, hey, you've got to pay attention. So rather than freaking out and seeing it as this, I don't know, like, hey doctor, fix it. Of course, like, do I want the doctor's help? Yes. But I know that before I go down that route, I am going to do everything in my power. I'm going to check my alkalinity. I'm going to make sure that I'm taking supplements. Oh, supplements. I didn't talk about supplements. So there's only one supplement I'm going to talk about, and this is probiotics. So again, we've basically decimated our microbiome through the foods that we're eating, the stress that we have, the lifestyles that we lead. And so your microbiome, I think it's between 3 to 7 pounds. Don't quote me. It's a big invisible organ that we just completely, for the longest time, have completely ignored. But it actually is so intricate to our evolution. It's so important to the functioning of our brain, to our emotions. Our emotions are connected also to what's like the balance of your biome. And so we want to have a balance, a healthy balance in our biomes. And so this is something that I take myself. And again, I'm telling you the stuff that I've done and the stuff, all the things that you've seen, I'm not advocating them. It's just the stuff that I take. And so if that can help you, that's why I'm doing this video. So this is a soil-based probiotic. This, I'm sure you can find at any, like vitamin shop. And so this is specifically soil-based. What does that mean? So there's this book. It talks about how we've been so disconnected from the soil, from the earth. And in the past, when we used to eat our veggies and stuff, yeah, sure, we wash it, but we would basically have contact with these soil these organisms that were in the soil, and that impacted our microbiome. And so you can have normal probiotics, and for me, specifically based on the research that I've done, I went with a soil-based probiotic. So I have a couple of these. These have, how many do they have? Oh, these have 5 billion CFU. And so yeah, for my probiotic needs, I also have enzymes. And so I use a soil-based probiotic because I do believe it makes sense, right? The way that I've reached my conclusions is, does it make sense? If we think back to a time before, doctors and researchers and all of these people existed, does it just make sense? Does it add up? And for me, the fact that we are supposed to be more in touch with the soil did add up. So we've talked about a bunch of things. We talked about food, hydration. We talked about supplements. We talked about your alkalinity. We talked about portions. We talked about meat. We talked about milk, healthy fats. And I'm gonna close shop here. This has been a long training, but it's one that I feel so passionately about because, again, of my own suffering and pain and journey. And I want to share my journey so you don't have to go through the suffering that I've gone through. So thank you so much for joining me. And if you guys have questions, if you want to share about your health journey and what you've learned along the way, put them below. And just sending you so much love, and I will catch you again next week.